We wanted to tell our stories. This particular lady was Red Leggings, and she was a cancer doctor on the Turtle Mountain Reservation. In her hand, you see her holding a poultice, and this poultice is a cancer that she removed from a patient. And I wish I was a speaker. The Ojibwe word for cancer is spider. She would remove this cancer with one poultice, and then she would put another poultice on it for it to heal. I had been in ceremony in Canada with one of our tribal women, and the spiritual leader said, "You women are responsible for the water." And they had just had a water ceremony at Turtle Mountain, and the water spirits there were telling them that there was terrible harm happening to the water, and they needed to go into ceremony to do something about this. We contacted 40 women, and we brought these women together, and some of their husbands showed up. Eventually, we had about 100 people involved, and we, to make a long story short, in November of 2011, the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa banned fracking on the Turtle Mountain Reservation. From now on, we want our people to start focusing on our tribe and what are you going to do to help us make it a better place. We've had student success, and now we want to use Tribal Nations Research Group as a vehicle to improve the lives of all tribal members.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. I think that was an excellent model. I mean, that's really where we want to go, so that the research that is done is completely relevant to our own communities. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Gregory Kahete.
Senk Iherinde, as I said, which in Tewa means good morning. This idea that there's only one way to look at science, there's only one way to do science, there's only one cultural perspective that matters, that has to give way, because the issues that we face today, particularly with regard to climate change, require more than just one view of science. And so Indigenous science is essentially a life-oriented consciousness. It's a kind of mindfulness of where you live and how where you live and everything that is a part of where you live contribute to your life and to your well-being, and how your reciprocity within that context allows for the continuation of that system. So it's not less than, it is not less than Western science. It's just a different cultural journey.
What we did in this 2-day training is we looked at different metaphors. I mean, first of all, she gave us some background and gave us examples of other projects that used cultural metaphors. But I was kind of looking for a metaphor that would work for our program. And so we talked about a lot of different things. Then Camillus talked about the man in the maze. And as he was talking about the man in the maze, I thought, wow, that is so powerful. And that's the metaphor that I think would really, really work well. And so that's why I invited him to be in on the problem-based learning project. So there are many, many different layers to the man in the maze, and I just really want to say that what I'm representing here is kind of the tip of the iceberg. It's like most Indigenous knowledge. There's some of it that's meant to be shared, but there's other aspects of it that are very deep and spiritual that I'm not even going to touch on in this talk, and nor would it be my place to do that. And it represents both the inner and outer journey of life. And so if one of your goals of education is to transform the student, you really have to engage the whole student. What is their personal journey as they move through your program? So this man in the maze really does give you a way to do that in your educational programs. Metaphors really is the only way to do it. We also have culturally relevant, right? And so that's kind of more like you take your basic Western curriculum, and then you change it to make it relevant. But the only way to really do culture-based education is to really kind of throw out what you have and start over, which, you know, it's not always possible. I don't do it in all of my classes. So some other things about the cultural metaphors. It encapsulates tribal epistemology. You don't need to explain it, the students know. And so if you really include those in your curriculum, it really has an impact on a very deep level for the students. And part of that is strengthening identity. And so the idea is to really have the students take ownership of their own education, and that this is their education based on their culture.
Well, it's been a great couple of days. Thank you all so much for all your input, all your thinking, and all your committing of yourselves to this whole set of issues. Does anybody have any final reflective comments?
I am from Little Priest Tribal College in Winnebago, Nebraska. I am the math faculty, and I am here with our Director of STEM Initiatives. This convening has brought about an excitement in me. It has brought back hope for bringing more Indigenous learning and problem-based learning into our math and science courses.
Like I said before, it's just me actually looking at a student as a person and trying to, not a number and not a paycheck, and more like a person. Like, I want to help you, but because I needed that when I was a student. You know, I needed someone that would, you know, lend a helping hand, and I had that, so I took that into my teaching ability myself. So one mindset I have is I always look at myself as like how I was when I was a student, just be humble about it.
I'm very thankful to be in your presence. You are knowledgeable. The tenacity that you have, the ability to invest in your students during the summer is very admirable. But what I want to say is give yourself a round of applause. Yeah.